Not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Brock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and finally we had a wrestling match. Finally we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like the best ones, I would say, are like the ones where they try to get a certain like time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Everybody. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Wrestlechat with Vince McMahon. Let's get ready to rumble! Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Nation Network. Vince McMahon with you here. It is time for Wrestlechat. Today, we are going to be covering the action that took place yesterday here in Kissimmee, Florida, which was MLW's return to the Sunshine State for the first time in 7 years. It was the Battleriot. Now, it's also their first time getting back out in front of fans in a little while. It's been like a month or two. Not entirely sure what all was going on with that. I think there's a bit of just kind of getting the money together. And they're a smaller promotion, but what a roster. I mean, it was really, there were very few names you didn't know. And by the time the night was over, you want to know them more. So we're going to talk about all that. Now, a lot of spoilers, obviously, in this. So if you're waiting until next week when it airs on YouTube, now might not be the time to watch this video. But if you want to know what happened, who won, who lost, here's the place to be. For exclusive coverage of the big event, Andrew Roberts is in the house. Prime Time is here as well. Welcome aboard. J-Rocks is in the house as well. So, yeah, we're going to dive into this real quick here. Let me just, there we go.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Wasn't that bad. All right, I'm going to take my notes out here. We're going to have some pictures to go along with it. Our opening match featured Shotzi going up against the former Gigi Dolan, now Priscilla Kelly. And it started out kind of light. You know, the match was kind of soft in the beginning. Light hookups, just selling things that didn't look like they were really there. But it got better towards the end. They definitely picked it up. The crowd got into Shotzi early on. She got the chance and all that. I was kind of pulling for my girl Priscilla. I thought that she's had a rough string lately. Fans, forcing her off social media for a little while because she took a booking in Israel. It's like, fuck off, people. You got nothing wrong with the fact that the WWE is selling their soul in Saudi Arabia, and now WrestleMania next year is going to Saudi Arabia. I mean, if that isn't the ultimate kick in the dick, and you want to give this girl a hard time for earning a paycheck, fuck off. Anyway, it was great to see her back, and she is back on social media as well, so more power to her. Bumps got pretty solid throughout the match. They took good bumps on that. And Shotzi would go over with the pin on Gigi. The match itself went about 8 minutes, and I'd give it about 3 stars out of 5. If I'm doing the star thing, which I'm not necessarily a big fan of, but just to give you guys a brief synopsis and maybe some sort of idea of what it felt like to me while being there. We move on to our next match. Oh, this was so pleasant. We got to see a young lady named Aaliyah James. I don't know her. She's the young lady in the blue going up against a familiar person, Scarlett. They let her wrestle. Fun fact, she can. It was a good match. Very short match. 3 minutes in length. So you can't give it more than a 3-star rating on a 3-minute match. But I think Aaliyah held her end up. I don't know how new she is to the business. She looked okay. And a lot of that might be because of Scarlett. But it was a decent, short match. That said, at the end of the match, Charlotte helps her. Did I say Charlotte? Scarlett helps her up, shakes her hand, and kind of gives her the rub to the audience that, hey, this girl's got a future in the business. And there was no screw job. I mean, it was literally that was it, and they rode off into the sunset. So that was another nice thing because you don't get to see that too often anymore. All right, moving on to the next match. Well, there's another shot of Scarlett. Austin Aries making a return. He hadn't been in the ring a lot lately from what he was talking about anyway. That was part of the angle. Going up against a guy named Trevor Lee. Trevor Lee has got a really good physique for wrestling. He's not over muscular, but he's muscular. He's not super tall, but he's tall enough. He's got a thickness to him that makes it feel like, he's a wrestler. And he was really good in the ring as well. Both guys had some really good stuff. Trevor had a lot of that over-the-top personality going on for him. And, again, it'll start airing next Thursday on YouTube, so you can see it for yourself. But really doing a good job of, there was an inverted atomic knee drop, and he did that old-fashioned mimicking of Austin Aries, kind of clutching himself and all that. Got over with the fans. Did a good job getting over with the fans. Austin came up with a move I hadn't seen done before. So we know how Randy Orton likes to take a guy from the apron and bring him back in, having him with his feet on the middle rope and then drop him with a DDT. Imagine that, but turn the guy around so that it's more of a reverse DDT. And it looked pretty good. I got to say, I wasn't expecting to see that. Trevor hit with a Shining Wizard that looked like it hurt and only got a 2 count. And then finally, it was a brainbuster in the win for Austin Aries. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was actually a really good match. Thought both guys brought it, and the crowd was into it. I enjoyed it, and I'd say it probably went about 10 minutes, give or take. Moving along, we come up now to our next encounter. We've got the OC in the ring there. Gallows and Anderson going up against the Coffees, Mark and Joe Coffey. The OC will get the win with their finisher, and all things considered, I would give it about 3 stars. It wasn't a super good match, but it wasn't bad. They got done what they needed to get done, and it was going to be a long night for both guys, or both teams, I should say. Now, at ringside for this match were the current MLW Tag Team Champions, which would be Dijak and Bishop Dyer, formerly known as Baron Corbin. And at the end of the match, those two guys decided to jump in and attack the Good Brothers. And that battle went back towards the locker room. Here's one that you're going to want to get to know. Gentleman in the purple there is Dive Bomb Diego Hill. Never heard of him before. Never seen him before. He's legit. I mean, if you're into the high-flying acrobatics and all that stuff, he's good. He's really good. You put him up there with the Wesley and Javon Evans people. I mean, he's that level good. He won't not be somewhere in the near future. I mean, I see him NXT bound in a year or less. Not sure what his contractual stipulations are where he's at now, but he's exceptionally talented. And Diego went up against the loose edge, Adam Brooks. I thought both guys put on a good match. Crowd was into it. Probably gave him a good 10 minutes, 12 minutes to tell their story. And at the end of the day, I ended up giving it a 3-star rating. And that moves us further into the matches and the card. There's another shot of those two gentlemen right there. And one more. And then that brings us to a singles match between Hammerstone and Bishop Dyer. On paper alone, that could have been a main event match right there. They did a good job. I mean, you got the two strong guys, the two powerhouses, and you got what you would expect to get from them. Another 3-star match in my book. Might have gone 3.5 on that one. I'd go 3.5 on that one. Hammerstone will get the victory with the power bomb after a little outside interference. So Dijak comes down to help his guy get the win, but on his way down to the ringside area, he gets jumped by the Good Brothers. And then Bishop loses focus because he sees his partner getting jumped, and then we see what happens from there because Hammerstone takes advantage of that distraction, hits him with the power bomb, gets the 1, 2, 3, and it's all over. So I'd go 3.5 stars on that. It was good to see those two names in the ring. We now move to the intermission. More autograph signing out front. Shotzi was there. Priscilla Kelly was there. Scarlett was there, of course, along with Karrion Kross, Killer Kross. Good Brothers were also signing. That moves us back inside for our first title match of the night for the MLW Middleweight Championship. The defending champion, Temprario, going one-on-one with a name we should all know by now, Kushida. I've always been a Kushida fan. I wasn't sure that they were going to put a belt on him or not, but I was really looking forward to this match just because I always like his matches. This did not disappoint. It was a really good match, back-and-forth match. I gave it 4 stars. Both guys got some really good stuff in. And I'm trying to not give the whole stuff, the match away and all that, so that if you do want to watch it next week, you won't know what's going to happen exactly. But, again, this is a spoiler-filled video. And with that in mind, the winner of the match and new middleweight champion is Kushida. I was real happy to see that happen. And right after he wins the match, all of a sudden, it looked like something funky going down. Because what was a very sportsmanlike match, all of a sudden it comes out that Contra comes down and inducts Kushida into the organization. He puts on the T-shirt and proceeds a double beatdown on the already defeated Temprario. And that's the way that one went down. Although it seems like Contra's being cheered nowadays, so I'm not sure where that ever turned because I kind of stopped watching MLW for a while. And I'm just kind of getting back into it now. I think they finally turned the page on the whole Dario Cuartos thing, which I thought was a big mistake, taking on another company's identity that didn't even make it. And I liked them back in the day, Lucha Underground. I did. I just, they didn't make it. And even if they did, it's their identity. Make your own. You have your own. Why would you want to go back to that? I don't know. So anyway, I didn't see any of that being involved, so that might be a time that they're finally turning the page and bringing us something better. That brings us up to the reason we're all here, boys and girls, The MLW Battle Riot number 8. Now, if you're not familiar with the Battle Riot, it is basically the Royal Rumble with a couple of different twists. Number 1, weapons are completely legal and encouraged. And boy, oh boy, did they bring the stuff to the ring. Everything from the traditional garbage can, steel chairs, crutches to pineapples. Yeah, it's like EA used to say, it's in the game, it's in the ring. It was unbelievable. So the number 1 entrant coming down the aisle would be Killer Cross. Shit. Not what I wanted to see. By the way, 40 participants. 39 technically. We'll get to that in a minute. Number 2 was Matt Riddle. So 2 of your biggest names, 2 of your, well, 1 former champion. And by the way this works is the champion is in the Battle Riot and the title is up for grabs. The champ at this time was Mad Kruger, I believe, the dude from Contra with the mask. And it's every minute. So every minute we're getting new people in there. We're getting the coffees coming back out again. Everyone you saw pretty much during the night came back out a second time. And then there were a couple of surprises. Cha-Cha came out, and that's a guy that most of you may not know. But if you're in the Florida area, you probably do, because he's a big name in CCW, the Coastal Championship Wrestling that is run by, Leader of the Brood, drawing a blank. But you know who he is. His real name's Dave. I can't think of his gimmick name at the moment. But anyway, that's his promotion. Cha-Cha's a big draw for him, and Cha-Cha made his way to Kissimmee and ended up going into the Battle Riot. He's the guy, I believe, that may have brought the pineapples and stuff like that with him. If not, then it would have been Don Carlos, I believe, is the guy that's getting the push. He's an older lucha wrestler representing CMLL. And, between the 2 of them, we got pineapples in the ring somehow. Anyway, they added a little bit of fun to it. And the Good Brothers came in, ended up, Gallows went out relatively quickly, a little surprising. Then this big dude, I don't know his name. Big, and I mean, there was more butt crack than we needed to see. He came in from our portion of the arena, not through the main entryway. And just came steamrolling in, hit the ring, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it was hard to see because everyone's standing at this point. So getting a good view of the ring at this point was a little struggle. Despite the picture, this is where I ended up moving to so I could see something. He hits the ring full force, and whether it was by accident or intentional, I'm not sure, ends up taking out Mad Kruger over the top rope, hits the floor. We're going to have a new champion. That's been established. There's an elimination that takes place during this match, and I don't recall the 2 participants, but you'll see it. A razor's edge from the ring, outside the ring through a table. And it pretty much happened right where that camera is at right there and a little bit to the right. So I don't know how their camera crews are going to capture all that, because where I'm at now is where their hard camera was pretty much set up. It'll be interesting to see. It looked brutal. Absolutely brutal. Unforgiving. We get down somewhere near the 30s, because they were not announcing which number wrestler was entering. They would just give the promo video for the wrestler, but not tell you what number it was. And we're somewhere in the 30s when Festus came out. Now, we already had Gallows, and he's already eliminated, but now he comes out as Festus. We haven't seen Festus in a while, and he's in that catatonic state, and he's in the ring. And now the champs go up to him, being the former Baron Corbin and Dijak, and they're kind of fucking with him in the corner and just smacking his face or flipping his beard. One of them flipped his tit, Just look at him, and he's just standing there, and he's doing his little act and all that, and the crowd is so into this. I mean, they are just, ring the bell, ring, and the bell's not coming. And they just keep on, paintbrushing him, and he just, it seemed like a good 5 to 7 minutes. He just stood in that ring while the rumble was going on around him. And then all of a sudden, a guy gets eliminated, and Anderson comes down, grabs the bell, rings the bell, And holy shit, he goes to town. Elimination after elimination until he ends up getting caught up in the mix and goes over the top rope, and he is gone. That was a fun moment. The crowd loved it. I was into it. It was good times. Flashback. So it kind of reminded me of when Mick Foley came out as Cactus, Dude Love, and Mankind all in the one Rumble. So similar to that. We haven't seen Festus in a long time. I know I haven't. So that was a good time. Then it gets down to the final three. I'm drawing a blank on who the third was. I apologize for that, but I can tell you the last two were the first two. Matt Riddle is in the ring still. Karrion Kross is in the ring still, or Killer Kross is in the ring still, and I forget who the third one was. But it ends up into a moment where Matt Riddle ties up with the other guy near the ropes. Killer Kross comes over, flips him over, and the winner and the new champion for the MLW is Killer Kross, who was the number one man into the Battleriot. So that all said, I had a good time last night. It was a good show, a lot of fun stuff. I recommend you check it out next week when it comes out on YouTube. You will enjoy it, I promise. It was good stuff. Let me see what you guys got going on in the chats here. Prime time. What do we got? MLW Gotex? WWE? I'm not sure what that means. Trevor Lee used to be on TNA and NXT. Really? Well, I don't know why they let him go, because I thought he was pretty solid. And I wasn't familiar with him. Yeah, he is talented. What else we got here? Bishop Dyer is now in AEW. Well, he wasn't last night. And he's half of their tag team champions. AEW has always had a little bit of a loose relationship with letting certain talent play in other sandboxes. So that might be what that's about. The Time Splitter, indeed. He's one of my favorites. I really enjoy his matches. Keith O'Toole's in the house. Welcome aboard. Yeah, I saw the video of Tommaso Ciampa in the AEW. Here's my prediction. Tony will play with his new toy for about 30 to 60 days, and then he'll put him back in the box, and you'll never see him again. Here's a problem with Tommaso Ciampa. I like the guy. I like his look. Then you see him in real life, and he's just not a big guy. Now, yeah, of course, Rey Mysterio's not a big guy. Chris Benoit was not a big guy. There's just something different about his not being a big guy that it's like, to me, it doesn't click that he could be a legitimate badass powerhouse. Could he kick my ass? Yeah. Okay. Now we're talking about wrestling. Now we're talking about other guys who are 220, 245 legit pounds. Shawn Michaels wasn't a big guy, but he had something different about him. And it was also a different time. So I just don't imagine how you can legitimately book Tommaso as a killer. But we'll see. Well, someone will see. I don't watch AEW, so once you go there, you're kind of like in the graveyard to me. Yeah, Anderson and Gallows are definitely in the MLW. That's clear. Oh, Macklin got fired last night? I didn't even think about watching the highlights from that. Wow, that kind of sucks. Damn. That wouldn't have been my prediction. I forget who the four guys were that won cases, but I wouldn't have imagined him getting the firing. He had a good run, though. I can see him showing up in MLW. That wouldn't surprise me. Although his wife is over in AEW. I don't know. Does Tony Khan see value in him? I do, but I don't know if Tony does. I would almost assume he's going to AEW, though, to be with his wife. Let's see if Breaker wins the men's match. What does that mean for the Vision? I don't know. You know, they're promising a lot of surprises. God knows there's plenty that can be had. It's not really a surprise when Chris Jericho's music plays because we know, just like it wasn't a surprise when Cody came to WrestleMania. We knew he was coming. Now, there could be other surprises that we don't see, which would be nice because that's what the Rumble's all about. And I really feel for the women because I don't see them having a surprise that could even rival what the men's are going to have. You might see Paige. That would be nice. And that would be a little bit of a surprise. Not a shocking surprise, but that could be a little surprise. Now, if you get Britt Baker to show up, then you got it. That's a bell ringer right there. The title shot, I also don't remember. I'm going to have to go look that one up separately. Because like I said, I normally would have watched the replay highlights and stuff like that. I just didn't get around to it. Yeah, MLW is definitely doing their own thing with Mexico, but they've got the CMLL. So they're kind of in competition with what the WWE, NXT, and all that's doing with AAA. No, listen, they've brought people back from the dead. They killed Eric Young off, and then they brought him back from the dead. So there's always a way. TNA has always brought people back no matter what. You know what, Hunter? Thanks for being here, number one. Number two, man, my back just from standing last night so much. Because, again, the seating, general admission, which was a $10 ticket. God bless them. Guys understand business. And those metal bleachers just, man, they're no good. They're not comfortable. So I was up standing most of the night and walking around just so I could get good views in a ring and stuff like that. It was kind of chaotic. I got to tell you, there was just a lot going on. Again, this is the location I used to work at, so I'm very familiar with it. And the manager of the event, I'm good friends with him, and I was trying to have a couple of words with him just to catch up and all that, but he was running his ass off. And when TNA was there, back when it was Impact, it wasn't like that. They got to sit in the office and just kind of kick back and chill, and all the crazy wasn't happening. And it wasn't through anyone's fault. It's just that was just the way it was going last night. It was a little more chaotic, and he definitely had to get some track work in. But turned out well. It was their first time being in our venue, and I had a chance to talk to I guess he's the promoter. I'm not sure if he's part of the owner or something like that. Couldn't tell you that. Seemed like a really chill guy. I talked to him real quickly. Asked him how he found that location, because when they used to come to Central Florida, they would tend to go to like the VFW halls type of thing. They were small venues. And this is more of a mid-sized venue, I guess. But basically, he just threw out some feelers, and they reached back out to him with the available dates, and everything fell into place, and they wanted to come back to Florida. That was one of the things he talked about. So hopefully, and I told him, I said, come back as much as you want. You got a full house tonight. It'll be there. How much does a ringside seat cost for a live WWE event? I can tell you right now, they don't do too much in the way of live events anymore. But if you're talking about just a regular SmackDown or Raw show, which is 90% of what they're doing now, those tickets are almost as bad as WrestleMania. Ringside seats are going to be upward of $800 to $1,000. Floor seats are going to be in the $600 to $800 range. It's insane what they are charging for regular Raw and SmackDown shows. I get you're going to make your WrestleMania money and your your Rumble money and all that kind of stuff on the big events, but you got to leave some shows for families to afford. And that's what I really loved about last night. Everyone could come out and enjoy wrestling, and you're seeing a roster of the same people that were just in the WWE in the last 12 months. Mixed in with some talent that maybe hasn't been. And they all rose to the occasion and had a great show for an affordable price. So God bless. I want them to make money. I want them to do well. I know you got to pay the talent. But at the same point in time, what good is a show if you have no one that can afford to see it? So MLW right now, for the money, you can't go wrong. The WWE, I don't know what their deal is. I just don't know what their deal is. They're out of touch with their audience, and they don't care. I mean, they're making their money, so that's just the way it is. If nobody was paying it, they wouldn't be charging it. And that brings us to a $150 video game. I am standing by. I am checking on different websites. I am trying to find out what these packages are going to break down to. The minute that information is out, we're going to be going live. So that's the best I can tell you on that at the moment. Arn Anderson. Oh, Arn's son. Yeah, his son did go to there for a little while, did he not? Honestly, Brock Anderson never really. He was just okay. He wasn't a great wrestler, and that happens. You know, it's not for everybody. I always thought that Perfect Son, Joe Hennig, I thought he was a lot better than he ever got to be in the WWE. He had the Intercontinental title early on. That was very promising. I thought his promos were okay. They were good. You know, they weren't bad. They might not have been Dusty level, but there aren't too many Dusties out there. He was definitely good enough. I would say his promos were as good as his dad's, and he had a pretty strong career. They just never booked him to be strong after the Intercontinental title thing. Yeah, they gave him tag team titles for a little bit, and then was he not part of the three-man band? Maybe not. Might be confusing him. But either way, it should have been better than it was. In Brock's case, I think he just, that's as good as it's going to get for him. Thank you, Keith. Yes, indeed. This Saturday, I know it's a busy day for wrestling for everybody, myself included. The Saturday morning show and the 6:05 show, which I know that's going to be a popular one this week because it's going to butt right up against the start of the Rumble. But a lot happening. It's going to be a busy weekend, big episodes. Things are going to happen that are going to move the goalposts and the storylines further down. So make sure you don't miss this Saturday's action. Miz's group. Okay, I knew he was part of something. One of those factions that was kind of, yeah. Oh, Brock Anderson's in TNA now? Oh, shit. Okay. Maybe they can do something with that. C.W. Anderson? I mean, what is, please tell me he's his manager. C.W. Anderson's an old man. Probably about as old as me, if I'm not mistaken. Drew, Heath, and Jinder Mahal. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That would have drove me crazy because it was still bouncing around the back of my head. Brock Anderson and CW are in TNA.
No! Ah, what? Sorry.
Just saying. Three-man band. Good times. Good times. All right, boys and girls, I think that's going to wrap this one up. Again, it'll be airing on YouTube next Thursday. And there's some matches that you'll definitely be happy you watched if you do. In the meantime, I'm going to say so long. We'll be back sometime today with an update on the situation with the 2K26 packages and what they have to offer. Until then, so long and have fun storming the castle.
Bye-bye, boys. Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle.
Bye-bye.